Hey, if you're a nursing student in Nigeria, you're in the right place. We're about to tackle a massive problem, that feeling that you have to study for like 10 hours every single day. Today, we're going to show you how to ace your exams without totally burning out. Let's get into how you can study smarter, not harder.
And this right here, this is the whole idea we're going to unpack. It is not about how long you read. It is all about how you read. Seriously, I want you to forget everything you've been told about those marathon study sessions. The secret isn't more time, it's just a way better strategy. Getting this one idea can literally change everything for you.
All right, so first things first. Let's talk about the biggest myth out there. This idea that the only way to succeed is by chaining yourself to a desk for 10 hours a day.
I just want to be super clear on this. If you feel that crushing pressure, that guilt you feel when you're not studying, I totally get it. But listen, it's not your fault. It's the method's fault. That entire approach is just broken, and there is a much, much better way.
So let's get into the why. Why does this marathon approach not only lead to burnout, but actually give you worse results? Let's break it down.
Does this sound familiar to you? You spend weeks, maybe even months, just reading and highlighting. You really feel like you've put in the work, but then you sit down for that exam and your mind just goes completely blank. It is a horrible, gut-wrenching feeling, and it's a direct result of passive studying.
And here's the science behind it all. The key thing you have to understand is that your brain isn't like a computer hard drive that you can just fill up by staring at a page. Think of it more like a muscle. It only builds memory and real understanding when you actively work it, not when you just passively look at stuff.
And this really shows the difference in a nutshell. Over on one side, you've got all the old habits, reading for hours, highlighting everything, rereading your notes over and over. This creates the illusion that you know the material, but it ultimately leads to forgetting. But on the other side, that's our goal. Studying with questions, explaining concepts out loud, and actually testing yourself. This is what builds real, lasting understanding.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the problem. Now for the good part, the solution. Let's build a powerful new approach that actually works.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's so easy to just say, be more active, but what in the world does that actually look like when you're sitting down to study?
It really just boils down to these three things. First, you have to start thinking like the person who sets the exam. Second, you have to practice pulling information out of your brain, not just cramming it in. And third, you've got to be strategic and focus your energy on what really matters.
Let's really zero in on the most important one here, active recall. This is the absolute game changer. So after you read a chapter on, let's say, the functions of the liver, you close the book. Seriously, no peeking. Then you have to explain it out loud to your wall or just write it all down from memory. That act of retrieving the information is what actually cements it in your brain.
And this quote, "This is your ultimate test." It's so simple. If you stumble, if you can't get the key points out without looking back at your notes, it just means you haven't mastered it yet. This isn't failure, okay? It's feedback. It's showing you exactly where you need to focus next. And the final piece of the puzzle is all about efficiency. Look, not all information is created equal. You need to become a detective and hunt for the high-yield topics. Look for things that are easy for an examiner to ask about. Definitions, lists of symptoms, step-by-step processes, and of course, those classic topics that you know are going to show up every single year.
So we've got the principles down. Now let's turn them into a practical, repeatable system you can literally start using tonight. Forget 10 hours. We're about to get more done in just 2.
Here it is, your perfect study block. You're going to start with 40 minutes of intense, focused reading. Just one specific topic, like the stages of wound healing. No phone, no distractions. Then you take a real 10-minute break. Get up, walk around, do something totally different. Next, for 30 minutes, it's time for active recall. So, for that wound healing topic, you'd close the book and try to explain or draw out the stages completely from memory. And finally, you wrap it up with 20 minutes of practice questions to make sure you can actually apply what you've learned.
And you can see it broken down right here. Just look at that. Less than half your time is actually spent on passive reading. The majority of your time, a whole 50 minutes, is spent on active engagement, recalling, and testing. That right there is the secret sauce to making information actually stick.
All right, but to make this new system work, you also have to consciously get rid of the old habits that are just holding you back.
To really make this work, you have to promise yourself you'll stop these 3 things. No more mindless highlighting, no more all-nighters right before an exam. That's just panic, it's not learning. And maybe the most important one, stop worrying about how long your classmate is studying. Their method isn't your method. You just focus on your own effective 2-hour block.
I really want you to remember this. The goal isn't to suffer the most or log the most hours. The goal is to learn effectively and pass your exams so you can become a nurse. This is all about working smarter so you can actually have a life outside the library and still achieve your dream.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to get you started. And don't just think about it, decide. Pick one topic, schedule your first 2-hour block, and go prove to yourself that this strategic approach really works.